Hey everybody, it's Captain Kyle, and I'm here with all 6 of the Core Class Legacy Dinobots. We have Grimlock. Yes, me Grimlock here. We have Sludge. Me Sludge, kinda dumb. We have Slug, which is, actually Slag. You fall up already, I'm baloney. We have Swoop. Me Swoop, no see nothing. We have Snarl. Ooh, Snarl, very happy to be here. And then, of course, we have Scarr. Definitely sounds a little bit different than the other Dinobots. And I'm going to go through these guys, and I'm going to merge them into their large form. I've waited quite a bit of time to put these guys together into Volcanicus. So we'll go through these, see if it's worth hunting these down for your collection. Be right back. All right, so very cool non-plastic window packaging on these guys. Yes, I did wait until I got them all to do any type of review on them. So we're gonna put 5 of them aside and start off with me, Grimlock, ready to come out of box. And of course I have a handy knife, and I'm gonna go ahead and slice it open. Now, the packaging is pretty good, but it's core class, so it doesn't show a heck of a lot. And we have a little instruction book, and I'm pretty sure we have this little crappy piece of paper. Man, I throw out more of those things. And I will use my knife to free him from these paper strings. And I may refer to the instructions just because, So his weapon is apparently this piece that goes on here, so put that on him. But here he is. Let's zoom in a little bit on him. His legs are packaged together, so I'm going to just wiggle them apart. But he looks a lot like Grimlock. He's got the colors on his legs. The gun does not look anything like Grimlock's gun, or of course he had the sword. But let's take a look at his posability here. So first, with his legs, there are no ankle swivels because it's a core class, but he can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. So there he is in that mode. His legs can go forward and back pretty far. Forward pretty far too. He can kick pretty high. Me join Cobra Kai. He bends at the knee because he's got a ball joint in the back here. And can almost do a little bit of a swivel, but not quite. Twists at the waist. The arms can normally go all the way around, but there's kibble there, but you can swivel them around. But yeah, so far very posable, and the head does turn, so he can look in various directions. Or you can, for some reason, his head was all the way around, so now he can actually see. But he can look behind him and see nothing because, of this kibble. But looking at the back, he's got the dino head and the wings. The wings are a little differently placed than the G1, obviously. And he's got this area here that's for, I guess, part of the transformation. Now, he does not have elbows. He can swivel his fists a bit, so that's kind of cool, but no bending at the elbow. But he can shoot you with this dual blaster. From the tips of his wings, he's about 3.5 inches tall. Still, it is Grimlock, leader of the Dinobots, and a pretty good representation. The only way you're going to find a smaller one is world's smallest knockoff ones are probably a little shorter. All right, let's get him into Dino mode, which I almost don't need the instructions for, but it does take a little wiggling. Apparently his gun becomes kind of a tail. It's kind of a tail. There he is in his Dino mode. Me, Grimlock, bash brains. Me not wants to be a waiter. I mean, he does have this little shelf here on the back, which is kind of meh. His jaw does not open, unfortunately. But overall, he's not a bad representation of Grimlock. So there he is. His back, he's got, he's pretty good for the size. But this shelf is kind of irritating. As far as posability, his head moves around, his back legs move around. If you look on the inside of them, you can see the fists here, but that's why the swivel, so he doesn't have to worry about that. So, not bad. And obviously, they had to take into account that he needs to become a leg of Volcanicus, which I understand some people were unhappy with the whole leg thing. He should be the main body, he's the leader, but there's precedent. Devastator, Scrapper, clearly the leader, and the right leg. All right, let's get Slug, aka Slag, out. Now, I'm sure there's probably some add-on kit to give these Dinobots They're more G1-ish weapons. Of course, there's no real weapon storage probably, but you know, you never know, right? The people who come up with those, not the crappy piece of papers, but those add-on kits, pretty clever. So there's the box with him, his robot mode and his Triceratops mode. And I think I can figure out how to attach the gun without referring to the instructions. So there he is. So let's take a look at this robot mode. Yes, there is Slag, who is full of cesium salami. Not really. That doesn't sound too bad, though. Legs-wise, no ankle rockers. He can kind of do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme, but because of part of the kibble for his transformation, he kind of leans forward. But he can do a full split. He can bend his knee. He actually has a swivel on his leg, unlike his leader. No twisting at the waist, it appears. It looks like there's a joint there, but because of this piece in the back, it doesn't allow him to do that. Wait. The wings come up. So now he can twist at the waist. It's interesting that it does not show how the wings come up, but they do. So that's kind of an added feature, undocumented. So right here, split that apart, the wings go up. It might be also part of Volcanicus mode, but it makes him look like a better version of Slag. The legs go forward and back, to the side. As I said, when you move that up, he can twist at the waist. The arms go around, no elbow joint, just like his leader. And in this case, no swivel. His entire dino head turns, which has his face in there, so that's kind of neat. So he can look in different directions, even do an exorcist thing. Yeah, it is interesting that this back part, you know, can open up and make him look better as a bot, but it does not seem to be documented in the instructions. But let's get him into his dino mode, which means closing those back up. One thing about his arms, they actually go out to the side, which is cool. And the reason for that is part of the transformation, because you can push them all the way around, and that hides his fists when he is in dino mode. But the transformation is relatively simple, and like his leader, the gun plugs into his ass to form a tail of sorts. Weird looking tail, but it's a tail nonetheless. And there he is. Now, the last piece is closing his mouth. When you do that, you can't really turn the head anymore. So that is purely a robot mode thing. But the arms, well, the legs in the front can move back and forth and even out a little bit if you want him to do something like that. The back legs are also able to go pretty much all the way around. They run into this little plate here, but you can swing it past. So a good Triceratops. I like this version of Slag. I will not call him Slug, because that's a stupid name. I understand that Slag is a term that's not exactly polite in the UK circles, but this is the US. You know, think of what we call certain things that are different from what you call things. The bum. All right, 2 down. Let's go with Sludge. I'm actually kind of doing these in the order that they appeared in the cartoon. In the comic book, they pretty much appeared all at once, dispatched by Teletran 1 to fight Shockwave in the Savage Land, which is how they kind of justify them being dinosaurs. All right, crappy piece of paper goes away, and Sludge. Megatron called you stupid. What do you think of that? It is obvious what their weaknesses are. Grimlock is arrogant. Slag, violent. Or hostile or something like that. And Sludge is stupid. I wouldn't take that. You're a big, well, not in this form, but you're normally a pretty big dinosaur. Show that little gun who's stupid. All right, so I'm gonna say that Sludge here is one of the weaker modes. He does not seem to have a weapon to hold, and he's got these big ass plates on the side that may interfere with doing a Jean-Claude Van Damme, or they might not. You can kind of put him into a split, almost a full Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he doesn't quite make it because he looks like what I used to look like in karate class, trying to do a split. Never quite made it all the way down. He feels a little less articulated than the others. The legs can go forward, but because of this little piece here, you kind of gotta swing it around a little bit to clear it. And he's kind of got knees, but they're kind of weird knees. It's like his thighs have been shifted to either side. Does he twist? He twists kind of at the upper, almost mid-chest, mid-torso. The arms can go all the way around for him to swing the weapon he doesn't have. And his head does turn. And Sky is here. because she likes Dinobots. And me? Maybe? Hi. So there is Sludge in his robot mode. Not as impressive as the others, but considering his alt mode should hopefully be better. I'm hoping. Right, Sky? Now, as I was transforming Sludge, it kind of came apart. The joint here slides on and off, so just be careful of that. So there is Sludge. Brontosaurus, mouth doesn't open, which is one nice thing about Slag. But the legs on this guy don't really move at all. Kind of annoying. He's pretty much there, and you can't do anything with him other than, pretend. Rawr, rawr, rawr. Right, Sky? Is that right? All right, so Sludge is a little disappointing with the transformation, and I'm gonna probably have to go back to the sheets just to see how the transformation works. All right, let's go with Swoop next, because he appeared in the movie and Snarl did for a microsecond. So apparently Swoop is Sky's favorite because her name is Sky and Swoop goes in the sky. All right, instructions, shitty piece of paper, and paper ties. The guns almost got away from me, and they ran the little paper ties through the fists, so that makes it a little more of a pain in the ass to get out. But to make up for Sludge's lack of weapons, Swoop has two, and they're actually pretty cool looking. And I can already tell they're the fists of Volcanicus. Oh, don't fall over. So there is Sludge in all his glory. Wait, what did I say? That is Swoop in all his glory. It is two guns, and with a cat next to him. And the robot mode looks pretty good, right? Isn't that right? The legs, if you raise his arms a little bit, he can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. Bring it back down. He's got a full swivel, and he bends at the knee. So it can go out to the side. You just watch out for the wings. Sky, that's not being very helpful. Hard to get good help these days. Okay, so we got a tail here, but it's okay. Twists, does it twist? It does twist at the waist, but the nose of the pterodactyl mode, or pterodon mode, get in the way. So you may have to push that a little bit forward in order to get it to do that. He does have elbows, unlike his brethren, and he can go off to the side, swivel. Arm can go all the way around, only the wings in the way, so you'd have to put the wings all the way back in order to make the arm go all the way around, but they actually move, so that's kind of cool. Head does turn, which I'd be surprised if it didn't. This, I would say, is probably the best so far as being robot-wise with the best articulation. And again, two weapons. No sword. But again, add-on kits, I'm sure, have already been made. I'll look into them. There's his back, not a ton of kibble. You just see the folded wings and, of course, the hollow back legs. And you can also take the guns and put them on the wings. There's something on the wing of the pterodactyl. So he is the only one of the Dinobots with a breathing flame or shooting I-beams type thing that's attaches wings and they're actually like guns. All right, let's get him into his pterodactyl mode, or pterodon mode. So nicely with all these Dinobots, as you are transforming them, there's places to plug in things. They stay together. It's not just put the arm there and hope it stays. And having the guns on his wings, they stay in the same place in his pterodactyl flying dinosaur mode. So there he is. He's got the feet, so he can kind of, I wonder, can't really put him standing on his hind legs like that. The head doesn't allow him to look down and look like he's resting on something. So you kind of got to leave him in this mode, which is slightly disappointing. But overall, I'm very pleased with Swoop. He can fly around. Now the wings are a bit articulated. Because of the transformation, you can't move them a lot up, but you can move them somewhat up. So he can flap a little bit. The wingtips can bend, so that's nice. Other than that, not a heck of a lot of articulation in his dino mode, but he's flying around and firing down. And, you can't even really almost see the face underneath, but obviously the beak doesn't open and close. But it's still a very good homage to the original G1, or, Titan's Return if you prefer that. But okay, we are 2/3 of the way through. Let's go with Snarl. Stupid piece of paper tried to hide in the box, but no, it's getting thrown out. Now, interestingly, the ties for this Snarl are plastic, which is a little bit easier to cut than the paper ones, but I'm kind of a little surprised because the whole ecological thing. And it makes more of a mess on my table, so gotta do something about that. Now, Snarl, though I'm showing him 5th instead of last, is the last one to come out. And there he is in his bot mode. Now, this piece that comes with him attaches to his back, so it kind of covers up some sins in the back there. And he actually has a sword. He is the only one with a sword, which probably ends up being a part or whole of Volcanicus' sword, but he has like an original G1 weapon. I'm a little impressed with that. But cool looking guy. Can he do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme? Yeah, pretty much. Because, again, of the kibble on his legs and stuff, kind of flops forward, but still he can do a full split. Bends at the knee, which is nice. He can go off to the side, forward, back. Not as far as Grimlock, but probably go a little further back if you took this plate off, but I don't want to necessarily do that. And then the arm could go around except for the tail kibble. But it does bend at the elbow, which is a nice thing. No swivel, but overall not bad. He does twist at the waist, so that is nice. And his head turns. So a cool version of Slag. And with that plate on the back, it does not really, give you that as much of a kibbly feel. I mean, you can see the spines of the dinosaur mode, but still. All right, let's check out his dino mode. So there he is in his, let me know in the comments because I'm not looking it up right now, but there he is in his dino mode. Stegosaurus? I think he might be a Stegosaurus. But not bad, but I have to say articulation in this mode, there's really not any. The arms kind of fold back to form his back feet, and you can see his fists, so that's not a great reveal right there. But his head was cleverly hidden in the legs, but you can't move his front legs or his back legs because they plug in. I do enjoy the weapon storage on the bottom. You can store his sword right in there, so that's nice. But overall, he's a good representation of the character, and you could do a little bit more with the original G1 and some of the other versions, but not a ton. This is a beast mode, so just use your imagination. Rawr, rawr, rawr. That's what I do. All right, and our last one before we do Volcanicus is Scarr. Now, I had actually come up with an idea for a 6th Dinobot known as Slash, but he was going to be one of the ones with the big fin on his back. I don't know the dinosaur name for that. So, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Slash might be Guns N' Roses, or that little raptor dude. I forget his name. But let's get Scarr, which is not a bad name. I kind of like it. Get him out of this prison. Now, he, like the others, has the paper bits, and they're running through his fists, so that makes it a little bit of a pain in the ass. This looks like a fist. Maybe Snarl's things combine into a fist. That would be cool, because this fist is much bigger. But it's also his weapon, and judging by instructions, I think I have to add this dino head to him, to his back. Now, this is one that we can't really compare to a G1 version, because there is no G1 version. But still, it's interesting, and yeah, he's got this fist gun. So, he's gonna fist you? That's diabolical. There is Scarr. He seems to lean back a little bit, but he stands well enough. Posability-wise, he's got these legs here. We can swing them up. That gives him a little bit better motion. Full Jean-Claude Van Damme. There he is. Leans forward a little bit, but twists at the waist. Legs go forward and back, and he can, really kick back. They go off to the side. Now, when he's doing a side kick, these little things, these other legs can get in the way. I mean, you can move them if you really want to do a full side kick, but arms go all the way around, head moves, and, Scarr talks like this in my imagination, just because me, Scarr, am happy to be a Dinobot and not recycled. Or you could be like, hey, I'm Scarr. I don't know. Choose whatever voice you want until there's an animated version, we don't have anything else to base it on other than our imagination. But there he is in the back. Not a ton of kibble. You can see the dino head and everything. I do not know what kind of dinosaur this is. You dinosaur experts out there can tell me in the comments. But let's take his gun out of his fist and transform this guy. Oh, no articulation in the elbows. Not a big surprise. Only a few of them have had that. Now this one is interesting because not only is there a ball joint, but it's a little bit necessary for getting these shoulder plates or arm plates together. So you got to wiggle it a little bit, but not a bad thing. And because, I think it might be because they didn't have to necessarily base it on a G1 or an existing character, his dino mode is pretty solid. Again, not sure what this animal is called, what this particular dinosaur is called, but he looks pretty cool. Head doesn't do much. The legs actually can move, but because of this piece, which I imagine is part of Volcanicus, you can't really move the legs in the front much without taking them off the ground. The back legs can go forward and back. You can twist the tail if you want. But there he is in all his dinosaur glory. I'll let you drink in the sight of this original Dinobot, unless he was in some series that I am unaware of. So there we have all the Dinobots in their dino modes. But let's take a look at combining them into the guy we've all been waiting for, Volcanicus. And yes, I know there was a lot of complaints about the other Volcanicus, because he is kind of wobbly. So I get it. I even have the Takara one, which has some extra pieces that make him nicer, but having a Dinobot combiner, I guess it seemed like a good idea at the time, but it's definitely not G1. So there he is, Volcanicus. At least as best as I could get him. The instructions were somewhat helpful, but they did say put the sword on the front of Scarr there, or Snarl there, and I'm like, no, it fell off once and I'm done. But he looks pretty cool. I mean, definitely not a bot that you can interchange limbs easily, like, you know, the original stuff and the Combiner Wars things. But you could probably switch the arms if you really want to. His fist might be backwards. But he's not a bad little guy. He's got some articulation. He can kick forward and back. Yeah, I'm not even going to really try a full Jean-Claude Van Damme because his arm fell off. But it's pretty neat. He doesn't have any additional weapons. There's probably an add-on kit that gives him a big-ass sword and maybe a gun. Not bad. The front of the Grimlock leg can kind of separate pretty easily. But otherwise, it's pretty cool. They did have an extra piece here that didn't seem to plug in anywhere, so I plugged it in the back of Grimlock. And I gave him a little bit of an extra heal, and just so I don't lose it. It's part of Snarl, I'm pretty sure, or Sludge. One of the two that make up the main body. Cool to put together, cool to pose. I don't know that much about playing with it because I don't have as much time to play with my Transformers as I'd like, and it would make a big mess, and I have cats. They would get all in the way. But there he is, the back part. You can see he got Sludge's head there. He's got some knee articulation. Oop. And Grimlock's face is showing. I'm not sure if that's how Grimlock is supposed to go, but I didn't like the way the instructions seem to say. Of course, the instructions are usually hard to decipher. So I kind of swung them around a little bit, swung his wings up. I think it's a pretty cool merge piece. Kind of reminds me of the size of Monstructor from G1. So if you have one of those, you can put them into battle against each other, though that fucker's expensive, so maybe not. Don't want to, like, accidentally break that shit. But pretty cool. I mean, I guess it was worth the wait. The back kibble isn't too bad, and his reverse abs here are okay. I will probably leave him in this form and put him on a shelf standing just as tall as one of the G1s. So if you're curious, total height of this guy from the top of his shoulders to his toes is about 7 inches. So a 7-inch combiner, core class, you can put him up against a bunch of core class guys and he can kick their asses. I think I have a knockoff Predaking in very garish colors that's about his size, so they could, you know, go toe to toe. I know some people are like, the Dinobots shouldn't have a combiner, they should, but since they do, Volcanicus versus Predaking would be an awesome fight. I don't know, I don't think they ever did that in Titan's Return or Combiner Wars or anything like that, but that would be an epic battle. Be really cool to see that. Looks like I might be able to put the sword spot that it's not supposed to go, or it might not fit. Let's try. Just because I think it looks stupid on the front. No, it's not going there. I'll try putting it onto the front part of Snarl. You may have to take the plate off just to get enough leverage to push it in, and then reattach it. But there you go, Volcanicus in his full merged form. Not bad. I don't really care the Grimlock's a leg. It makes more sense to have the Triceratops chest plate, in my opinion. So these have come out over a long period of time. I would not be surprised if Hasbro put out a box set of all of these at some point in the future. I mean, they did it with the Minotaur set. I could see them doing 2 box sets. One of the regular colors, maybe made even more to look like G1, and then maybe a shattered glass set, because, you know, they like to make money and reuse molds, and, you know, and those would actually be toys I would like. That'd be kind of cool. A box set I'd probably leave in the box and just, you know, display, because I already have one, but a shattered glass set would be really cool. We don't really have any shattered glass core class, but I mean, they have the new Energon Megatron, and they could make that with a little remolding into the shattered glass Megatron. You know, that could work. So I will put links to find these guys. Some of them are still at retail. Some of them you're gonna have to go to eBay. Some of you could have bought if you came to RetroCon and came to my booth, but you didn't, so shame on you. But while you're mulling over, tracking down all the guys for core class Volcanicus, you can check out this video over here, which is actually a set of Dinobots that are kind of almost like a shattered glass set. They're kind of neat. And of course, I hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I enjoy making them. We will see you next time, and as always, have fun and good hunting.